Iran's airspace closure hits air traffic. Iran has decided to close its airspace, and that at this point has really led to air traffic along that region. Airlines now scramble to avoid Iran airspace. Iran airspace has been closed, fearing Israel attack. In fact, the airspace has been closed until 7 a.m. tomorrow. And for now, we're seeing airlines scrambling to figure out how to traverse as Iran's airspace has been closed off. Flight radar data shows passenger jets taking a full detour, and that's led to frenzy and a lot of confusion among the airlines on how to evade through this airspace. Indian carriers now avoiding Iran airspace, and this has been on since April itself, owing to this ongoing war-like situation that prevails. And now with this escalation, all the more, the Indian air carriers being wary of venturing into that space. And now it's across the globe now, airlines are going to be scrambling to how they're going to maneuver through while avoiding Iran's airspace. Israel, in the meanwhile, reopens its airspace after Iran missile attack. Let me cut across to Lauren, who's a journalist joining us live from Jerusalem. Why don't you give us a little more on Israel reopening its airspace? Very confident and a bold move at that by your country, Lauren.
Yeah, well, Israel has the most advanced air defense systems in the entire world. Our air defense systems are what's keeping us alive, honestly, in this ongoing conflict. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, my rocket alert notifications are going off that rockets are coming in the north of Israel. Hezbollah is currently launching more rockets at northern communities in Israel. And thank God for the Israel defense system, the air defense system, our Air Force, our Aerosling defense system, our Iron Dome system. Without that, it would be catastrophic. We would have multitudes of casualties. And the thing that's interesting is that people always point to the low death toll that we see after these attacks in Israel, and that is a direct result of our incredibly advanced and effective air defense system measures, methods, and the Air Force working tirelessly to defend the citizens. So yes, we are confident that we can reopen airspace after the imminent threats are taken care of, and we can function as a modern country that is not going to be paralyzed by fear of the surrounding terrorist entities. We have a good defense system, and we protect our people the way they need to be. And please God, it won't come to what happened last night again if Iran should attack again and our airports and our airspace should be closed again. It happens, but we have a very good defense system that allows us to prevent this from paralyzing the country on a regular basis.
Lauren, a quick word from you on the sense that prevails within Israel right now. We know popularity of Prime Minister Netanyahu had dipped briefly in the past, and now with the direct target attacks on Hezbollah, we see his popularity has now risen yet again. Give us a sense on what people think of your supreme leader.
I think generally that trajectory says everything about the Israeli attitude towards this defensive war, in that we need a strong leadership. We need to attack our enemies. We need to win this war decisively. That is, we need to put plans into place and change the landscape of the Middle East so that our democracy, our freedom, and our civilians are not targeted and terrorized by Iran and its proxies on a daily basis under physical threat. The Israeli people love strong leadership. We love strong military action. We like to know that we are being defended full force and that there is no terrorist threat that can harm our people, our men, our women, our children, and our civilians. We like when leadership makes decisive actions, as in last week when the IDF took out Nasrallah in Lebanon. The Israeli population was very happy for this. Taking out terrorists, taking out terror proxies, eliminating the threats against civilians is something that Israelis find incredibly important. And that's what's going to win us this war. We cannot live in a defensive way, constantly being under constant missile attacks. We cannot hide in bomb shelters for the rest of our lives. That's no way to live, and that's unfair for the world to expect a population to live in a defensive way such as that. We need to attack and eliminate the threats that are harming the people, that are plaguing the democracy here in Israel. And once we eliminate them, the people of Israel are generally happy. And whatever the leadership is that is making those decisive, strong military actions, the Israeli population overwhelmingly supports that.
Lauren, thank you very much, and I wish your safety and your people's safety. Appreciate you joining us for the moment. I'm going to quickly cut across to Ashutosh Mishra, who's also very closely tracking developments. Ashutosh, the big news that we're tracking here is that Indian carriers, of course, have already avoided passing through Iranian airspace, and now with the latest we hear, Iran has closed off its airspace. Most of the airline carriers across the globe now are scrambling on how to maneuver through. Tell us what it really does to air traffic.
Well, the air traffic, I see the Iranian space literally going blank, and the reason is that possible retaliation by Israel. And as and when Israel decides to carry out, remember in the second week of April when Israel did responded to Iran's aggression when Iran fired ballistic missiles. But at the same time, the challenges for the Israelis to travel to 2,000 kilometers of, and that logistics you required intelligence aircraft, you require air fueling record, and of course the American fighter jets that Israel often use to carry out attack. Now let me take you to these live images where I see these scrambling airspace, all this Asian region, and then when we proceed further to the Middle East, this entire region and particularly the Iranian space literally goes blank. So here you see the air route which possibly could have been taken from Pakistan, Afghanistan via Iran to Iraq or the other spaces. Here I see mostly being diverted from Dubai, then I see Kuwait, and this region looks heavy traffic if you see the rotation. So most of these the flights who could have possibly taken a diversion from this way, like their usual route, are taking a divergent straight from Dubai via Kuwait, and then they are proceeding towards Israel. And so all of a sudden, from the eastern part of Iran, these flights are en route towards Tehran, Turkmenistan, and this Azerbaijan. So this entire space that you see, this entire space goes blank, and that explains till 2nd of October for the possible retaliation. This part, there is a heavy traffic, the Kuwait, Basra, Iraq, all these areas, Bahrain, looking for a heavy traffic because Middle East receiving mostly these connectivity from the region. But here you see this Iranian space. A very few number of these flights, and if I could just try to find out, these looks like a commercial flights, those are flying. These all are commercial flights, but that's a way far distance from the eastern part that we are seeing. But if you see largely this Iran entire space is awake. There is literally no movement of the commercial jets or commercial plane in this particular area. So that's possibly the Iran is expecting. And remember, what was big risk when Iran fired ballistic missiles? It did not even issue a notum, and perhaps why the people in the commercial jets were flying, they were able to record the launch of the ballistics through their mobile phone. So Iran indeed risked a lot of civilians who were flying through the flight jet during that airspace without issuing a notum. But here they have literally shut down the airspace, have issued an alert with possibility of retaliation by Israel fighter jets.